Now, history, of course, kept going, and then a somewhat better known episode happens, which is the rise of the Chola Empire and the great raids that the Cholas did in Southeast Asia in the 11th century. Now, why were the Cholas doing raids on Southeast Asia in the 11th century? Now, we don't know for sure, but one of the reasons, very likely reasons, and there's some circumstantial evidence to back it up, is that it's very likely that the Cholas and the Song Empire of China were trading heavily with each other. There are in fact lots of remains of Hindu temples along the coast of China from roughly that period. And it seems like the Srivijaya may have been kind of getting in the way and asking for too much toll. Now, like all Indians, when faced with high tolls, they go berserk. You see that every day on Indian highways. So, not surprisingly, they got up and they said, we must do something. So they got all their friends together at Nagapatnam, sailed across and beat those chaps up. And it clearly says at Kadaram, there was the king of Kadaram was defeated, his elephant and all his various treasures were taken away and they were brought back. But this does not seem to have caused too much problems, because a little bit later, the Cholas seem to have built a fairly strong alliance with the Srivijaya and the kingdoms of that area. And this is an interesting thing that is going on here in the context of understanding the geopolitics of that area. You see, the way we think about the history of Sri Lanka and the southern tip of India is that there was a Sinhalese-Tamil conflict. Now, we tend to be colored in this because of much more recent episodes of separatist movement in northern Sri Lanka. What actually was happening for almost all of history, except this recent episode, was in fact the Pandyas of Madurai and the Sinhalese of Sri Lanka were in a pact against the Cholas who were from the further up the Kaveri basin. And the Cholas seem to have had allies who were in Southeast Asia. So basically this was the geopolitics of the time. The Pandya-Sinhalese alliance against the Chola Southeast Asian alliance. And you can see that it goes back and forth quite a lot. But it's quite fascinating that the geopolitics of that area was driven by these very complex alliances.